Hi, my name is Sam Ameline, and this is my reflection on my administrator interview. This is a great process because I'm from Ohio, so we don't have KISA, but it was cool to go over the certain standards with my principal and to see where we kind of fit in this rubric. And we felt we did pretty well. We're not a model school. I'd say we're somewhere between the middle, transitioning to beginning stages. Some things we did well, other things there's really no evidence to. Going into the relationships part of the rubric, I feel we had a lot of high scores in relationships. I think this is probably our strongest area. Our higher points with evidence, we had a lot of support for young staff. Our 1 year through 4 year teachers, they have to do the RESA, which is resident educator, to get their professional license. We give them mentors. They have to complete state assessment. The district really checks up on 1st through 4 year teachers. So I think young staff is definitely supported. PD is also a great area. It's definitely teacher influence. So our professional development is influenced through surveys of teachers' needs. There's a lot of post assessment after PDs go through. So it's a pretty good area in our district. Also, we have a lot of social emotional learning focus. We have this implementation of PBIS, which is Positive Behavior Intervention System. We've been doing it for 2 years where we have classes that encourage emotional responses, positive ones, and we have lots of things in our school that reward positive behavior and not punish, which is great. Our low scores are definitely parent involvement. When asking my administrator, there was no specific planned out parent group that has say or input in our district, and that's going to be one of my things I'd change on the back end of this whole reflection. Um, we do send out school report cards, which like rates our whole school, but that's pretty much about it. The second rubric, relevance, our high scores were we're actually adapting new textbooks in social studies this year, and there's been a lot of administrator teacher back and forth. We've had a lot of input through all levels, so I think they really did that well. It's not just administrator mandated uh, of curriculum. We actually do have a say in it. There's a lot of vertical alignment through our district. We meet regularly in our content areas with middle school teachers, with the different high school level teachers, and see what in our curriculum do we struggle with, what needs to be taught, what doesn't need to be taught. I think we do that really well. Our low scores, personal instruction. Some teachers struggle with accommodating students' needs. I think this is probably in every district. There's just some that are stubborn that they have a style of teaching and they don't see that differentiating a lot of their content would help students when in that area it really would. Student input's another big thing that we struggle with. There's no actual student group that meets with someone of administration, someone of an adult, and they give their input, whether it be on behavior or academics. The next would be responsive culture. I think this is easiest to score because it's a lot of state mandated things. So um, we our indicators of success. Our superintendent communicates a lot of successes to us. It seems like almost weekly he's emailing us with something that we did good, which is awesome. We actually operate in the black in our district, which is kind of rare for how large our school district is. Our superintendent's really good with money, so he actually uh, turns a profit with our school. We're not in a deficit, which is really cool. Our low scores again were family involvement. There's not much involvement from parents. It's planned out. It's mostly just informal things. Last one would be rigor. Uh, High scores. We partner with a company in the community called Delphi Technologies. They actually help with our robotics class and our robotics team. They actually participate in robot events, which is really cool. Um, we also implement the classes of wood shop, metal shop, business and computer classes like CAD, graphic design. A lot of these classes are going by the wayside with funding cuts, which I think that reflects back on how well our district's doing economically. Our superintendent's doing a really good job, which is pretty cool. Um, our low scores in rigor would be the responsibility for student learning. There's really no consequences when teachers kind of drop the ball on, you know, being responsible for those students' learning. and developing technical training for all teachers. Some teachers are just kind of behind the times. They don't have a lot of technical training. I think our district needs to do a better job with that. My principal's leadership. I definitely think he's a leader member exchange theory. He follows that policy. Um, he just came in this year, and after evaluations, he would pull us. He would pull back in areas and give us support in the needed places. That's why I think he's a leader member exchange theory, because they figure out they have relationships with their followers, and then they lead from there. They figure out what they need, and then they give them those needs, and they don't harp on the things they don't need. For example, he thought my curriculum delivery was fine after an evaluation, but helped me develop more authentic assessment. That was a needs area he thought I needed. So I thought that was great. Lastly, the two needs for school improvement I mentioned before. Parent input's huge. I would have a booth at the school kickoff that we always have, informing the need of a parent board, and then giving a meeting date. And at that meeting, I would gauge interest and see if I could gather members for a parent group, see who I can get to represent the parents as the community, as a group, and have monthly, if not quarterly, meetings on what they could do in the school. That hits the PSEL standard 5B, which promotes adult student relationships that support learning. If parents had some input in their students, or even students that they know is learning, it would create a better environment for the students. Also, it hits the PSEL standard 5F, which infuses school learning environment with culture from the community. I think the board could suggest extracurriculars that offer to students from that PBIS standpoint those positive behavior rewards. I think parent group could come up with something that they think is a great reward. Maybe it's something culturally, maybe it's some event that they think that should be celebrated. I think that could infuse the culture, which also hits that PSEL standard. My last one would be student voice. That's definitely a need for school improvement. The students do need a voice. I would create a student advocate group in the school, which is voted on by staff and students, which could meet quarterly with administration and air out any needs they think, maybe good things, bad things, give reviews on new things that have been implemented. I believe that would hit the PSEL standard 5A, which it says to build and maintain safe and caring environment that meets the academic, social, and emotional needs of each student. I think having an advocate group meets the emotional need definitely, and the academic need if that group can suggest any academic changes, any changes in school policy that could affect each student. I hope you enjoyed this reflection. I definitely enjoyed doing it. Thank you.